You unlock this door with the key of imagination. Beyond it is another dimension. A dimension of sound. A dimension of sight. A dimension of mind. You're moving into a land of both shadow and substance, of things and ideas. You've just crossed over into...
Deny all the things I've seen, all the things I've discovered, but not for much longer. Because too many others know what's happening out there. And no one, no government agency has jurisdiction over the truth.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Eric.
And the truth shall set you free!
What's up, guys? Brother Sin here. So we're cutting into the middle of an episode that we recorded last week, and I thought it was pretty good. We had a story in there that we decided toward the end that we just wanted to cut out. Current time, it wasn't appropriate, and just something we didn't want to air out there. But the rest of the show I thought was pretty good. So I wanted to spend some time editing that out, and I wanted to go ahead and put it back together and bring some of that here to you guys. A couple of things have happened since that I want to talk about briefly. So, Royal Rumble last night. I've been hit or miss with the WWE for years. I mean, obviously, like most of my listeners, huge fanboy all through the 80s, through the rock and wrestling era, and into the 90s. But then it really fell off for me as I became an adult, as it does with many of us. Just the storylines, and it just got cheesy, and I wasn't into the Attitude Era and any of that stuff. But my 5-year-old daughter, she's almost 6, loves old school wrestling. We watch all the old matches on WWE Network all the time. She's a huge Hacksaw Jim Duggan fan. We've met Hacksaw. She idolizes him, and Jake the Snake, and all those guys. So we watched it last night, and the Rumble was pretty darn good. She got excited watching it, and every 2 minutes the countdown, she was getting fired up and counting down from 5 to 0, and people coming out, and she kept wanting to know who was strongest in the ring at the time. So that was pretty cool. But my point is, it's kind of drawing me back in. It's a little cheesy, a little corny, some of the angles and the gimmicks, but the Women's Rumble, at the very end, after the match was all said and done, who comes out? Ronda Rousey, sporting Roddy Piper's gimmick. Not only his gimmick, but she had on his actual leather jacket given to her by Piper's family. She came out just like him, the attitude, the walk, the energy, didn't say a word, but it's official. She's in the WWE now, and that's cool. Now, my wife and I had a little disagreement over it, that she thinks it's sad that Ronda left real competitive sports, legitimate sports, on a loss, 2 losses, and she's going into the WWE now, and she's not back trying to avenge those losses. I think it's fine. I told her Ronda was competing at a very high level in judo and the Olympics, all that stuff, for years, and that takes a toll, and she's put in a lot of time, hard training. So now it's time for her to have some fun, make some money, and I think it's pretty cool. I mean, I was never a fan whatsoever of the women's division of the WWE, could care less, but now it's exciting. People are going to hate on her for the way she lost and that she wasn't ever really as good as she was hyped to be, but you know what? I will always love me some rowdy Ronda. I don't care what anybody says. I got a spot for her, so I'm excited about that. And if any of you watched it last night, hopefully you'll agree. I thought that was pretty darn cool. So I'm anxious to see the kind of storyline they give her and how she performs on the mic and all that good stuff. So that's all I got for now, guys. I'm going to now cut us into last week's episode, and we will be back with you again this week real soon. Peace.
Leading off of yesterday's topic in perspective, that helps me quite a bit. I'm at a cross in the road. I could go one way or another, and for me, that's a sign. That's a sign for me. I can tell you that. I have spoken about Joe Dirte and the Walmart. episode.
Yes.
But before I do, I want to tell you about Walmart itself, okay? You could stick a Walmart in the nicest subdivision in Malibu, California. and somehow rednecks would find that place like flies, okay? They would find that place like flies. Out here, Johnson County, Kansas, very affluent, the most affluent part of Kansas, the wealthiest, the biggest. Very, very nice. I mean, everything is really, really nice out here. Well, they have a Walmart, okay? But before I tell the Dirte story, I got to tell you guys, hey, man, hey, don't buy your food at Walmart, okay? Don't buy your meat at Walmart. Don't buy a package of what they call turkey breast. So I go, I'm on a new program. I can't eat out all the time, so I need to go buy food. This isn't when me and Dirte get involved, but let me tell the turkey story first, and then I'll tell about Dirte. So I go and I buy a bunch of turkey breast. I come home. I make a salad. I don't have the turkey breast the first night. In the evening, I grab a handful of turkey breast. It's like a good snack. Not going to hurt you. And I noticed a turkey breast, there's a slice of a turkey breast. You grab a couple slices and toss them in your gullet, right? Well, this was turkey-ish. The label said turkey breast, but there was no way that was turkey breast. And I'm not going to throw away a $4 thing of turkey breast. I'm gonna eat the turkey product. But yeah, there's a reason that food is so inexpensive at the Walmart. It's not. That was hot dog turkey. You know how they make hot dogs? They just take the ass and all the disgusting stuff out of pig and roll it into a hot dog. Yep. I think that's what Walmart's doing with the turkey breast. So guys, do not. And if you do buy your food at Walmart, I don't want to hear about it. You don't have to sell me. You don't have to say, "Hey man, no, Godfather, it's awesome," and you piss away all your money. And no, man, I don't care if I piss away my money. I'm not eating that turkey product.
It's a turkey-like substance.
That's what it should be called. It's something, and we're going to call it turkey. And there's no carbs in it. So just go ahead and eat it, So, all right. So, I've been wanting to tell the Dirte story for a while. And Sin, I guarantee you have been in a very similar situation. I go to the Walmart, and what am I going to buy? It's been a minute. I think I'm going to buy some razors or something. I'm not buying a bunch of stuff. I know what I'm going to buy. It's my brother's birthday. I'm going to buy him some sweatshirts. I'm going to buy my brother some sweatshirts and some workout gear. I get out of my van. I'm driving a van. It's a dealership van. And I see Joe Dirte, and Dirte is about, this is a redneck. He's a redneck. He's 5'8". He might be $175, maybe probably closer to 150 pounds. He's got a decent looking gal with him. I assume it's his wife. I catch him right away. I catch him right away because they're both smoking cigarettes in their vehicle, and there's kids in the back, and I'm like, did I just go back 40 years? So I I just think that, it doesn't really cross my mind. They get out of the car almost at the exact same time I do, and he starts putting the mouth to it. He starts, every derogatory word in the book, he is calling her. And I'm like, I just want to get away from this situation because I don't want him to hit her. This is none of my business. This is none of my business unless he puts mitts to it. Okay? So I want to get out of it. I want to get out of it. But it's a sticky position, It's very uncomfortable. So it just so happens, so I break loose of him, I scoot away. It just so happens that Dirte is with his wife, girlfriend, sister, whatever, right in the same area. And he just won't stop telling her how stupid she is, what a whore she is. I mean, just everything. And it's loud. And I'm like, man, this is crazy. I just want to, it's so uncomfortable. I want to get out of here. So I get out. I escape them. Very, very uncomfortable. And get back to my van, and I see Dirte and his gal coming to the car, and I'm like, just leave. You've got to go now. You've got to go right now. No. Dirte pops her.
Oh, jeez.
Dirte hits her stiff. And I'm like, God damn it. So I get out of the car, and I'm like, hey, man. Hey, stop that shit. And he starts yelling at me, fuck you, F you, man, that's none of your business, get back in your car, I'll kick your ass. And I'm like, hey, man, it wasn't none of my business the last half hour, but it became my business when you punched her in the mouth. And I'm walking straight for him. Again, it's a little, he's little, man. And I'm not going to punch him, but I grab him. I quit talking. I'm gonna put him on the ground. So I grab him, and I don't really sweep him. I just kind of, I throw him on the ground. It wasn't that hard. And I don't punch him, but I keep him there. And I said, you need to settle the fuck down. Sorry, guys, about the cussing. You need to settle down. Now, you can imagine what happens next, right?
Oh, yeah.
Dirte's wife starts punching me.
No appreciation.
Dirte's wife starts punching me. Okay? And so I'm like, I push away from Dirte's wife, and Dirte pops up and yells at his kid in the car who has watched him assault their mother to call the cops on me. And I said, Dirte, I didn't call him Dirte. I said, man, we are in Johnson County, Kansas. Take a picture of that license plate. And when the cops show up, tell them the Godfather threw you on the ground because you hit your old lady. And see how that works out for you. and then I bailed. But my point of the I wanted to tell the story because we've all been in a situation where somebody is being verbally abusive to their mate. Don't we just all want to escape that position?
Yep, it's awkward and uncomfortable, and you don't want to be in the position where you have to make the decision. Do I step in or do I not? So you just remove yourself or try.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't punch him. I really am. Had he been just a little bit more of a man, I probably would have put the mitts to him. But he was just a cigarette smoking idiot derelict.
Yeah. The saddest part is if he's doing that to her in public, what's going on at home in private? You just and then her defending him.
Yeah. I was the bad guy. I was the bad guy, and I tell you, there's we can say whatever we want, but the lower class of America. Doesn't matter what color it is. White, Hispanic, black. The low education. I mean, these guys were derelicts. Is in many ways a subculture within itself. You know, that behavior is normal. You know, that's a learned behavior that guy's father had taught him.
Absolutely.
That woman's mother had taught him, and what they are teaching their child.
Yep, it's a generational problem. Absolutely.
So, to everybody that wants to hit their wife with a stiff jab, don't do it at the Walmart, okay? Because I might not be so kind next time.
Next time, yeah. I love it.
All right, so big news yesterday. I love when big news comes outside of mixed martial arts.
Yes.
I love it because, man, there's just so much. There's just so much you can talk about Conor and Khabib and, DC. The XFL. Sin, I want you to take this and run with it.
So Vince McMahon announced yesterday that in 2020 there will be the official relaunch of the XFL. And he feels large opportunity. There's more time now. Kind of the first time where everybody's saying, well, it failed the first time around. Well, this is just a fool with his money getting bored. But no, there's more of a window of time to plan, to get everything lined up and make it more stable. And if I heard correctly, to start, the teams, the organizations will all be league owned. And the reason they're doing that is I had heard some other excerpts from him. This ties into why he feels there's an opportunity because of the nonsense with the NFL this year and the kneeling and the disrespecting of the flag and, the owners not doing anything and, fans boycotting, all that stuff. With it being the teams being league owned, at least to start, he's got full control over all of that and says that none of that nonsense is going to happen. So I think it's a cool thing. Competition is always good for any industry. If it's more, like I said, better prepared this time around, I think it could be a cool product, another major outlet or opportunity for players that may not be NFL level. And why there's an opportunity, it ties into my next point. So as of this morning, ESPN has officially fired Jemele Hill, the black female Sports Center anchor. I think she's on another show, who came under fire several months back for making comments, not racist comments, but kind of anti-white, kind of some comments that way. And they officially fired her because they just said the Sports Center, not rankings, but I'm blanking here. The ratings, the Sports Center ratings for the shows she was on, those hours, have just severely tanked. And that kind of plays into with the NFL viewership, though still very popular, took a huge hit this year, with many people boycotting. My father, one of them, huge Vikings fan, but former Marine, extremely patriotic, conservative, didn't watch a single minute, and he will not because of all that. So my point is, with the NFL ratings going down, ESPN making that decision because their Sports Center ratings tanking. Not everybody may think like me or my father or, the Midwestern white middle-aged American man. However, these major organizations, many, owned by liberal thinking agendas, cannot ignore people like me. We may not make up the entire population, but it's a big enough percentage that they just can't keep ignoring it. Ratings will tank, and eventually it will become such a monetary issue that organizations such as ESPN will be forced to make decisions because we can't be ignored. The voices will be heard, and I think that's why the XFL's got such a good opportunity.
So what you're saying is You're saying the white, upper class, middle-aged male. He will be heard.
I'm not upper class. I'm saying the average American, the people that voted for Trump, all the flyover states, that the liberal agenda and everybody else who claims that nobody voted for Trump and everybody hates him now, that everybody thinks he's terrible. Those flyover state individuals, they are in existence. You can't just pretend they don't exist because they don't live in the major media markets. And that's all you hear on these talk shows, on the award shows, everything else. Everybody's saying how Trump is horrible. And Trump's just a part of it, but how no one likes him. Everybody thinks he's a horrible president, a failure. That's just not true. All the millions of Americans that voted for him may not have access to speak on these major platforms or be in these major metropolitan markets, but they exist. So it's those people. It's those Iowa farmers who love football and, those kind of people. Well,
it's more than that. I think I applaud him for most of what he's doing. I'm just like you on that. The guys, all you got to do is stand up.
Yep.
It's a real simple thing to do. But there's he's making a broader statement to conservative, true conservative America, that if you have a criminal past, you cannot play in the XFL.
Yes, that was huge too. Yep.
I see where he's going with that. You either have to be one way or another. If you make an exception, then it rolls through. You got to be different. That's saying we're going to be different. That's saying, do I agree with that? Doesn't matter. I don't own the XFL.
Yeah.
But I do respect. I respect a guy like that works as hard. If you hear anything about Vince McMahon, you hear he works 7 days a week. He's very family orientated. His family's part of his company. Yep. I'm rooting for him. Rooting for him. I would love. It's just not going to happen. I don't know how we swing the tail around for privileged, uneducated, for a great deal of the college kids that have been superstars and pampered all through their little league and in high school, and then now they've got a scholarship. They've been completely pampered, and they believe they can do whatever they want. Some of them are so good they can then make it to the NFL. And what is that saying? Nobody ever stops them and says, "Hey, this is a guy that's saying, hey, that's not going to be tolerated. I won't do it." I respect that. Even coming from a guy that if I was a superstar player, I wouldn't be playing in the XFL.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough sell. I mean, he's never going to fully compete with the NFL. But, like you said.
Does he? No. Does he have to?
No. It's going to be a different product. Yeah, it's not. I don't think he ever intends it to be a direct competitor. It's not. He's not trying to be the USFL. So, but like you said, I respect him as a businessman. That he's trying to somewhat speak to and serve maybe that middle class, middle America kind of guy with with the rules and the no convict stuff like that. But having never been in that situation in his life. He's always been East Coast, old money. His dad owned the W. He's never been, from scratch kind of guy, but he's smart enough to know these are the people that I need to, think like and market my product to. And, it just goes into play with his WWE like we've talked about before. He sells a fake product, sells out arenas 52 weeks a year. Something
and I tell you that product's been so bad for so
tell me about it.
So long. I mean,
but he's
I would like you to tell me, because you're like me. You'll still tune it in. We're creatures of habit. When was the last time there was a good storyline in the WWE?
Oh, it's been years. I mean, yeah.
they got AJ Styles fighting two guys. I mean, and then to promote that match, they have them go back to back. They have them wrestle. Who's the chubby guy? Kevin Owens. And then Sami Zayn. Is that it?
Yeah.
He has them wrestle them back to back, and he struggles in both matches and lose one of them. Well, so why on earth would anybody believe that he could win that match? It's just a horrible. It's been bad for a long time, but the numbers are still phenomenal.
Yeah, they're able to pull in that new young audience. Year after year, they get new fans, and the only even remotely interesting storyline that I've kept up with the last several years is, each year come WrestleMania time is The Undertaker. Is he coming back? Is he doing it again? Is he, going for the streak? Beyond that, man, I will watch 1992 Royal Rumble 10 times in a row before I'll watch a new pay-per-view. I pay for the network just for the old stuff. And that's what, my kids and I watch. We don't watch new Raw or anything like that. We watch stuff from the 80s. They love that. So
I'm rooting for them. I'll be very interested to see how it looks. I like the USFL. My point I was going to make is you are way ahead of me on the scale of getting rid of cable. I got 900 channels, and there's nothing on. I won't even turn on the television half the time because there's nothing worth watching.
Yep.
So, content is key. Where's he going to put it at? Good for him. This is a billionaire. This is a billionaire in his 70s. If he wants to make a run at something, man, good for you.
Absolutely.
Vince. Good for you. And Johnny Manziel tweeted, let me in. and the first thing, did Johnny get a DUI?
Yeah.
Is that what he did?
Yep.
And so he even made reference that even if you only got a DUI, you're not getting in. So, Johnny football is not going to be in. Now, you had said something about Pat Barry and Rose that I did not know the other day.
Yeah. So from what they were on Rogan on his MMA show the other day, and a couple things kind of snuck out at me that they talked about that I found a little odd, maybe a little creepy. So she started up at that gym when she was 14, and then took a little bit of time off, came back when she was 17. But they alluded to the fact that, there was kind of a relationship there with Pat right from the get-go, which is very odd, being he's a grown man in their training. She's in there as a, pretty long-haired 14-year-old girl. And he had even mentioned, that since the day they met, which she was 14, that everything was about her. He knew she had what it took to be a champion one day, and that everything in his life is focused, everything was about her. And I thought that was kind of odd and kind of creepy, that he was moving on her when she was at that age. And then just the fact, when I look back and think about it, very few times do I ever see her on a show, doing an interview, doing an appearance, alone. He's always with her. He, interjects and talks for her when people ask her questions. He'll step in and talk. The whole thing to me is just a bit creepy.
Man, I tell you what, I'm glad you brought me up to school on that. That kind of changes, my vision of them. Not them. I mean, I'm a Rose fan, but that's different, man. That's not 8192, man. We are not about stealing. This ain't Romeo and Juliet up in this motherfucker. Okay, this is not that. So,
yeah, I mean, and even if he waited till she was fully legal and adult to make moves, and just to know that he kind of had that in his head the whole time, that from right when he saw her, and
you're. I would give him a pass there, but I mean, when she's saying we picked up where we let off, and he's saying I knew right away it was all about her. Yeah, that's it.
Beyond that, they seem like good people, so I'd rather have them than some of the others out there. So, yeah. But
all right, Sim, what do you got for me to close this thing up? You got anything to close it up? I'm going to deuce out. Next time you guys hear me, I might be in a different state. I might be in a different country. I might be in a different world. I might be in a different planet. Peace.
Peace. All right, guys. That was The Godfather. Another great episode. So I had a couple things I want to piggyback on there. A lot of our listeners are also listeners and fans of Chael's podcast, obviously where Joel started on Your Welcome. And just on a humorous note, the amount of comments and tweets and stuff that I get from, fans of that show that are now fans of our show about Jacob and how clueless he is and him being a buzzkill on that show and just brings it down. I just laugh. I mean, I'm sure he's a good guy, but some of the times when the topics come up on, the type of show that Chael has with the topics that they typically cover, and he just either makes comments or has no comments because he's totally in the dark. It's just funny how many times people hit me up and be like, dude, you got to listen to this latest episode, or have you listened to it? He's an idiot, this and that. So I just thought that was comical. But, we all love Chael. The show's fantastic. And, if it wasn't for Your Welcome, we wouldn't have The Godfather here with us today. So love it. And one of the things Chael did talk about today, I want to talk a little bit about, because, we're all about health and mental health and fitness and all that good stuff. So I've got people finishing up the case study here for first of the year, and we're doing all of that stuff, and we're tracking results and so forth. Chael had mentioned, he was talking about his coffee and stuff and the blonde roast and, putting sugar in it, and not putting sugar in it. And that is a common misconception with people. He was exactly right. And if you take nothing from the nutritional musings that I put out there and the training and the fitness, understand, folks, sugar is probably the number one enemy for the human body, period. Regardless of your physical state or condition, your level of fitness, sugar has such a horrific and compounding negative effect on your health and well-being. If you do nothing else as far as changes in your lifestyle and your dieting and nutrition, but cut out or minimize sugar intake as much as possible, do that. From the diabetes to the heart disease, through the weight gain, to the screwing with your internal systems and your metabolism and the cancers that come from sugar consumption. Other than taking in pure rotten chemical, which is what sugar pretty much turns into in the body, sugar is the worst thing you can consume. So if you do nothing else, start looking at your labels. Ignore the fat content and the calorie content. Those are important. But if you start reading labels and choosing foods and products, hopefully as minimally processed products as possible, but start looking at product labels and choosing ones that have an extremely low sugar count and sugar alcohol count, you will be doing yourself a favor. Now, some of the other stuff matters, like I said, fat and calories, but when you minimize the sugar count, then those other things are also going to be more in line with what you need. Sugar has a terrible effect on the body, and that's why white starches and white carbs and white potatoes, white bread, anything like that, white pasta, they're not good for the body because they become sugar through the processing in the human body, through the glycemic response. Those type of foods turn into sugar in the body, and that's why you get the bloat and the weight gain and all that stuff from simple carbs like that. So Chael was absolutely right. Sugar, does not give you energy. It actually causes a decrease. It causes that reverse insulin spike that's going to make you feel tired. It's going to make you crash. So there's just nothing redeeming about sugar. Yeah, it tastes good on the tongue, but once it passes down that throat, nothing. Not a single benefit to your body from ingesting sugar. So please do what you can to cut that out. You will find yourself being healthier on that alone. And if you need something sweet, I know Chael had mentioned Splenda, but sucralose has not been proven to be good for you either. Basically, if you're going to put anything in your coffees or your teas or you need a sweetener, stick to stevia in your erythritol. It's the only natural plant-based sweetener that's on the market. It's not chemical, it's not artificial, it's a natural plant-based sweetener. So if you need something, stick to stevia and try and find the pure stuff that is strictly stevia extract in your erythritol and not, ribose and dextrose or any of those other things. So that's my little nutritional minute here today on the show. So, like I said, we're wrapping up the case study. I wanted to give one big shout out to one of our listeners who's really been keeping me up to date on everything he's doing, John Van Mulligan. He feels bad because he can't really do some of the workouts that come along with it, so he's feeling like his results may not be optimal, but he's feeling better, he's looking better, he's full, he feels healthy, and that's the big thing. Everything else will come. The body composition change, the weight loss, that will all come over time. But the key thing is he's putting healthy, whole, clean foods into his body. He said it's easy to keep up with, the recipes are easy, the shopping is easy, and he's feeling better. And, John, keep it up, buddy. I'm loving what you're doing. Next week we'll talk about some other people, but I want to give John a shout out today. Keep it up. And one last thing, folks, I will be on the Your Favorite Blockhead podcast tomorrow. It'll probably drop tomorrow or Sunday. I'll be with one of our great listeners and our show artist who does a lot of the comic strips for us, Brian Little. He's got a great little, no pun intended, podcast that's really doing some cool things. But Your Favorite Blockhead, so check that out. It's on Stitcher, it's on Spreaker, it's on Overcast, it's on a lot of the platforms. But look for that. I'll tweet it out here in the next couple days when we do finish the episode. But it'll be pretty cool. It'll be a lot of fun, and I look forward to doing that. So maybe go back and check out some of Brian's past episodes. I'm going to get caught up with where he's going, and really cool stuff, whether it's history or comics or MMA. It's a fun show, and I'm looking forward to it. So guys, for the Godfather, this is Brother Sin. Until next time, we're out.